Hello students, in this session we'll discuss the female reproductive system. Female reproductive system. The female reproductive system consists of a pair of ovaries, fallopian tube or oviduct, uterus, cervix, vagina, and female external genitalia. So female reproductive system, unlike male, it is located entirely in the abdominal cavity or in the pelvis, the lowest part of the abdomen. So you already know that in the male reproductive system present inside and outside the pelvis, whereas female reproductive system located entirely in the pelvis region. It consists of pair of ovaries, pair of oviduct, uterus, cervix, vagina, and female external genitalia. All these parts, along with the mammary glands, integrated structurally and functionally to support the process of ovulation, fertilization, pregnancy, parturition, and child health care. You already know that reproductive system is made up of primary sex organs and secondary sex organs. The primary sex organs plays very important role in the production of sex cells and secretion of sex hormones, whereas secondary sex organs, neither they produce sex cells nor they secrete sex hormones, but helps in the process of reproduction. The female primary sex organs are the pair of ovaries. You remember, within the ovaries, the formation of female gametes takes place by the process called oogenesis. The female gamete is ovum or egg, and also involved in secretion of ovarian hormones. The two female ovarian hormones secreted by the ovaries, one is estrogen and the one is progesterone. And one contrasting difference between male reproductive system and female reproductive system is, within the male primary sex organs, the formation of male gametes takes place after attaining the puberty, whereas in the female gonad or female primary sex organs, the oogenesis process starts before the birth. That is, during fetal life, the oogenesis process starts and it completes after attaining the puberty or sexual maturity. So let us start with the female primary sex organs. The ovaries are two oval-shaped female primary sex organs that are located in the lower abdomen near the lateral walls of the pelvic cavity. They lie either side of the uterus, just below the opening of fallopian tube. Each ovary measures about 2 to 4 centimeters in length in a grown woman and connected to the pelvic wall and uterus by means of ligaments. So the ovaries are held in its position with the help of ligaments, because ligaments which connects ovary to the uterus and the pelvic wall. When you talk about ovary, the ovary is lined by germinal epithelium, or the ovary is covered by a layer of cuboidal epithelial cells called germinal epithelium, and the germinal epithelium is covered by visceral peritoneum. Just below the germinal epithelium, in this position, you find tunica albuginea okay, tunica albuginea, a layer of connective tissue, and underlying the ovarian stroma. Ovarian stroma. And the ovary, okay, is broadly, or stroma of is composed of connective tissue, and it is differentiated into outer cortex region and inner medulla region. The cortex region consists of undeveloped ovarian follicles, okay, that is primary follicles, secondary follicles, tertiary follicle, and matured follicle is called a Graafian follicle. So these follicular cells are present in the cortex region of the ovary, whereas the medulla contains only blood vessels and nerve fibers. You remember one thing I told you, the oogenesis process starts during fetal life. That means the germinal epithelium consists of female germ cells which undergo mitotic division and produced millions of egg mother cells. So after the birth, no more egg mother cells are added to the ovary, and these egg mother cells enters into the first meiotic division. That means during fetal life, mitotic division takes place. Soon after the birth, the egg mother cells enters into the meiotic division, but temporarily arrested in uh, prophase 1 stage. Prophase 1 stage. So that time the follicular cells are surrounded by a layer of granulosa cells. Such differentiated cells are called primary follicles. Primary follicles. You remember one thing, the large number of these follicular cells degenerate during the phase from birth to puberty. So out of millions of egg mother cells, hardly 60,000 to 80,000 follicular cells, primary follicular cells, are left in each ovary. Soon after the, okay, during the phase of birth to puberty, the primary follicles are differentiated into secondary follicles are differentiated into tertiary follicles, and tertiary follicles are differentiated into matured follicles called Graafian follicle. The matured follicles are called Graafian follicle. Why the matured follicles are called Graafian follicle? Because they are named after the discoverer, that is Regner de Graaf discovered matured follicular cells or follicular cells, hence they are called Graafian follicles. Graafian follicles. And apart from this, within the follicular cells, the oogenesis process takes place, and the follicular cells of the ovary secrete two female sex hormones or ovarian hormones. One is estrogen, the second one is progesterone. Second one is progesterone. So this is about ovary. Next, we'll move on to the secondary sex organ, that is oviduct or fallopian tube. So you already know that the fallopian tube, okay, is commonly known as the oviduct, and it is a site of fertilization. It is a site of fertilization. So soon after the oogenesis, okay, the ovum is released into the fallopian tube, and soon after insemination, the sperms are released into the female genital tract. With the help of vibratile movement of tail, the sperm reaches the upper part of the fallopian tube where the fertilization process takes place. So fallopian tube or oviduct is the site of fertilization. Site of fertilization. Come back to the fallopian tube. The fallopian tube is internally lined by ciliated epithelium. Ciliated epithelium. And you already know that the female gamete is non-motile. Once it is released into the female, okay, it released into the fallopian tube, and with the help of ciliated epithelium, the ovum reaches the site of fertilization. Site of fertilization. So a pair of oviduct, each oviduct or fallopian tube, each fallopian tube is measured about 4 inches in long and extend, or 10 to 12 centimeter in long, extend from the ovary to the uterus. It extend from the ovary to the uterus. So it is divided into three parts: infundibulum, one, ampulla, and isthmus. So all together constitute what? Constitute a fallopian tube or oviduct. So it is divided into three parts: a funnel-like structure called infundibulum, then a broader part, that is ampulla, and the last part is isthmus, which opens into the uterus. And you remember one thing: the infundibulum, okay, the larger end of the funnel, it's divided into feather, or which possesses a finger-like projection. Can you see this? These are the finger-like projections, and these finger-like projections are called fibrae, which helps in the collection of ova or ovum immediately after ovulation. So ovulation we'll discuss in the next class. Okay. So next part. And one more thing I forgot to mention. Okay. Exactly at the junction of ampulla and isthmus, here at the junction of ampulla and isthmus, the fertilization process takes place. Next we'll move on to the next part, uterus or womb. It is a thick-walled muscular organ, pear-shaped muscular organ, piriform pear-shaped muscular organs, which measures about 8 centimeter in length, 5 centimeter in width, and 2 centimeter in thickness. Highly distensible or stretchable, and it is a site of the fetal development. When you talk about uterus, it's a pear-shaped, highly vascular organs in which the fertilized egg called a zygote becomes and embedded, in which egg is nourished and allowed to develop until birth. Or it is a site of implantation or fetal development. The uterus located behind the urinary bladder in front of the bowel. And when you talk about uterus, the wall of the uterus is made up of, the uterus is made up of three parts. The first part is called fundus, the second one is called corpus, and third one is called cervix. Okay, so it consists of upper broad part called body or corpus, narrow uterine cavity, and a third one is cylindrical part called cervix. And the cavity of cervix, look at here, the cavity of cervix called cervical canal, which along with the vagina to form birth canal. The uterine wall has made up of three layers. The outermost layer is called perimetrium, middle one is called myometrium, and innermost layer is called endometrium. So serous peritoneum, myometrium, and innermost layer is called endometrium. You remember one thing: the myometrium is made up of smooth muscles. At the time of parturition, these smooth muscles undergo vigorous contraction under the influence of one pituitary hormone, that is oxytocin, that helps in parturition, or that helps in vigorous contraction of uterine muscles at the time of parturition. And The myometrium is followed by innermost layer called innermost layer called endometrium, which is highly vascular and connective tissue. And this endometrium, which uh, undergoes cyclical changes at the time of menstrual cycle. The cervix, next part. The cervix is followed by vagina. It's a muscular hollow tube extend from the vaginal opening to the uterus. Okay, the vaginal opening is covered by partially covered by membranous structure called hymen, and this partially covers the opening of vagina. Although hymen is get torn after the first coitus or sexual experience, it can also be broken by accident or injury, horse riding, bicycle, high jump, gymnastics, and small sports. Lastly, we'll move to the female external genitalia. Female external genitalia. The female copulatory organ. So female copulatory organ is made up of the following parts. The first one is labia majora. These are two large folds homologous to the scrotum, made up of skin and tissue and fat. Labia minora, just below the majora, you find labia minora. Two small thin folds. Thick folds are labia majora. Thin folds are labia minora, located medially to labia majora, fused to form fourchette. Mons pubis. Okay. Just above the labia majora, a thick cushion of fatty tissue which is covered by pubic hairs called mons pubis. At the junction of two labia minora, you find a finger-like projection or small erectile organ called clitoris, which is homologous to the penis of male. Vestibular, okay, it's opening, okay, or it's encloses urethral orifice and vaginal orifice. In case of female reproductive system, you find two separate opening. For urethral orifice is an opening for excretory system, whereas vaginal orifice is a external opening for the female reproductive system. On the either side of these openings, you find the female accessory glands. Two pairs of female accessory glands. The one is greater vestibular glands, which are commonly known as the Bartholin's gland. Bartholin's glands. The second one is called lesser vestibular glands or skin glands. The main function of these glands, they secrete milky alkaline fluid, viscous fluid, and that viscous fluid which helps in lubrication of female genital tract at the time of sexual intercourse. So vestibular glands, or there are two types of glands. One is a greater vestibular glands, second one is lesser vestibular glands. The greater vestibular glands are called Bartholin's glands, occur on each side of the vaginal opening, whereas these vestibular glands are homologous to the corpus gland of male. So this is about the female reproductive system, and this female reproductive system is structurally and functionally associated with one more gland, that is mammary glands. And you already know that the mammary glands are the characteristic features of mammals, and the mammary glands are functional only in case of female, and rudimentary or non-functional in case of male. And these mammary glands are derived from sweat glands. Sweat glands. When you look at the structure of mammary gland, the functional mammary gland is a characteristic feature of all female mammals, and the mammary gland structure contains glandular tissue and variable amount of fat. So the glandular tissue of mammary gland is divided into 15 to 20 mammary lobes, and these mammary lobes contains a cluster of cells called alveoli, and these alveoli secrete milk under the influence of prolactin hormone or lactotropic hormones. Lactotropic hormone. So look at here, the glandular tissue is divided into 15 to 20 mammary lobes. It consists of a cluster of cells called alveoli, and these alveoli opens into mammary tubules. And you remember, the alveoli secrete milk under the influence of lactotropic hormone or prolactin hormone. The mammary tubules, okay, mammary tubules, alveoli opens into mammary tubules, and mammary tubules of each lobe join to form mammary duct, and several ducts join to form vidal ampulla, which is connected to the lactiferous duct. So these are the ampulla which are connected to the lactiferous duct through which milk is sucked out. Milk is sucked out. So this completes the female reproductive system. In the next session, we'll discuss the process of gametogenesis. Thank you.